Fest. My name is Corey Smith, and behind me is the wonderful Highline Community Symphonic Band. We are so psyched to be with you today. Thank you. We have a really fun set of music for you that's all music from like some of the best family Disney and Pixar films from the last, well, really like 80 years or so. But this first piece we have, Cartoon Symphony, is going to kick it super old school. So even though these all originated as cartoons, they have been made into movies. So I dare you with your neighbors to play a little Name That Tune old school style. This is Cartoon Symphony. Thank you. Fun way to start it off. Anyone get all the tunes? 4 people, great, awesome. Okay, we'll see how you do with this next one. We are traveling to 18th century France for the beloved film Beauty and the Beast. And it had so much success as a film, like almost immediately got turned into a Broadway musical. And part of the success surely was this phenomenal score. So please enjoy this epic medley from Disney's Beauty and the Beast. next trivia question. If you had to guess what was the most streamed film in the United States between 2020 and 2024, tell your neighbor your guess. You have 5 seconds. Band, I hope you get this right. Did anyone say Moana? Hey, 4 people. Okay, good. I actually wouldn't have guessed that either. That's awesome. Yes, Moana came out in 2016, and still 2020 to 2024. It was the #1 stream. Anyone with little kids probably knew that answer because it's been playing nonstop in their homes. But it's pretty cool because the characters and plot come from Polynesian culture, which we haven't seen really focused on in a Disney film for quite a while. And the music is awesome. So enjoy music from Moana. really kind of lucked out with beautiful weather, which we were setting up is much, much colder than this. So that's pretty cool. Disney doesn't have a monopoly on these iconic scores for all these fun family films. Pixar has also created several legendary movies. I think they're laughing because they absolutely have a monopoly. But anyways, Pixar Studios has a lot of legendary scores as well. And so our next piece showcases hits from The Incredibles, Up, Ratatouille, Cars, and the one that started it all. We had to finish with some Toy Story. Please enjoy Pixar's Movie Magic. And who in the audience prefers the nice, warm, gorgeous sun? People who prefer the more shadowy coldness, dampness, you can tell which side of the street I'm on. Well, for those who enjoy the cold, this one is for you. We are going to turn down the sun a little bit and take you to the mythical land of Arendelle with music from the multi-billion-dollar enterprise of Frozen. Alrighty. We hope you're enjoying yourself so far. We're having a blast up here. Our band does perform throughout the year. We have 4 kind of quarterly concerts: October, December, March, and May. And we've got some really, really cool music planned for you next year. So you can follow us on Facebook. You can check out our website at highlineband.org. Or hopefully you know someone maybe playing behind me and they can keep you connected. But we'd love to see you at our concerts coming up. We love playing, and this is a great group. The next piece that we're playing is going to take us from Norway, from Frozen, all the way down to Africa. This is music from The Lion King. That was awesome. The next piece we have is from the movie Coco, which really demonstrates the power of music it has on our memory and nostalgia in a really beautiful way. I know that music means a lot to the people behind me and to me, of course. Everyone behind me is a volunteer. They're not paid. They just show up every Monday night for a couple hours and put together all these concerts. We have people who showed up like hours early to help set up the stage. People are going to help clean up. Our board is phenomenal. Like, we just have such a group of great people. And so if you are willing to support us, there's a couple of ways that you can do that. There's a really cool French horn down here that we call our Horn of Plenty. If you are still one of those people who's carrying cash, that's a great, I mean, you could throw a credit card or a check in there too. But most people decide to go with the cash inside the French horn. On that same website I talked about, highlineband.org, there's digital ways that you can contribute to. But all of the donations go to just covering our operating costs, like renting facilities to perform at, purchasing music that was written sometime in the last 20 years rather than 80 years ago, just to keep it relevant, renting equipment trucks, all of that stuff. So we thank you in advance for showing your support to the wonderful people behind me. This is Remember Me from the movie Coco. Thank you again so much for spending this last hour with us. Thank you, Strawberry Festival, for having us. Thank you. We have two major sponsors, the King County for Culture and City of Burien, really do a lot to help us function. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, like this lady. Give them a round of applause. The most recent Disney film came out last night, and it's a remake of How to Train Your Dragon that first came out in 2010. Did anyone see it last night? Technically DreamWorks. Okay, sorry. The band is fact-checking me. That's probably smart. So yes, DreamWorks remake came out last night, and word on the interweb is that it's quite good. So it uses a lot of the same music. This is John Powell's music from How to Train Your Dragon. Thank you again for coming out. Thank you again so much, Strawberry Fest. Hopefully you have a great afternoon and rest of your weekend.